What inspired me to become an opera singer? Nobody. I was studying at UCT. I just graduated, so I was ready. I was supposed to go and do my honors, but I didn't. Instead, because I was in the choir with these other people, and one of the guys was actually a conductor, not of our choir, of another choir, and he was studying at UCT, and the one who told me that they had auditions, because I used to sing in the UCT choir for Africa. But at the time, there was no operatic singing in the choirs. It was just straight choral music, as in African traditional choral music, Western traditional choral music, more your oratorios in that rather than the operatic stuff. It's only now recently that you find a lot of the operatic stuff in the choral scene. So at the time, there was absolutely nothing that said to me, go sing opera. You know, so I went and I did the audition on a day, and I got in. They told me same time, yeah, you're in, and that's how I became an opera singer. It wasn't that I was inspired or I wanted to become an opera singer. The first time I did Porgy and Bess, I was doing the role of Clara, and I didn't know what Bess sang at all. And I remember watching the lady who came in here, her name was Cynthia, and she sang this role, and I was like, one day, when I grow up, I'm actually going to sing this role, because it was just so sexy and so, it's got so much meat. The interesting thing about Bess is that she doesn't have a single aria in the entire opera. She's on stage 90% of the time. She doesn't have a single aria, and yet she is so strong as a character. She sings so much. There's a lot of acting, and I come from the dramatic background. So for me, the whole thing is that, you know, roles like Bess and Carmen and that, I love that because it's meaty. You can do so much with it. There are similarities with the contemporary life in South Africa and what is portrayed as the ghetto in the original story, the American story. In South Africa, that would be the township. So there is that sense of community. There is that element of poverty and people always helping each other out. If you look at the funeral, for example, when the family doesn't have money, even today, the community will come together and try and put together that money so that there is a proper burial and the decency of it. So there's always that sense of, you know, people will always pull together. It's that life of, you know, we know that we are all struggling together. So there is that. What is the most exciting thing about touring overseas? It is shopping, shopping. Anyways, besides that, the audiences are very appreciative. You know, they're much more likely to give you a 10-minute standing ovation, 15 minutes, 30 minutes sometime, as opposed to some of the audiences that you will encounter. Because, you know, I guess the audiences there are more used to the culture of theatre, and they're used to the music. They're used to that kind of, you know, they know that, you know, it's actually nice if they clap loudly and they stand up. Whereas sometimes, you know, here people tend to be like, they're waiting to see. It's like the sussing out. And then, of course, they're very appreciative, but it's not on the same level because it's more the language of the West, this opera that we're doing, you know. Whereas if you go into our audiences and you bring our music, the same response you will get that you get when you go touring overseas with opera. You will get the same response if you were to do a quieter show, you know, or hip-hop, because that's what our people are used to and that's what they relate to. And over there, they relate more to the classical side of music. So the audiences are much, much more appreciative, and that's what we enjoy.